All right. So, welcome to this second part of the webinar series, How to Make Money from Your Knowledge. I'm so excited that you're here and that together we're going to learn how to perform what I call information alchemy. And basically, information alchemy means that you're going to be able to convert low value information into high value information. So, on the screen here, you see what we covered in the first part. I'm not going to repeat that. So let's talk about how we can convert low value information into high value information. And it's what I call alchemy. And we're going to use the framework MAPS. I'm going to explain that later on. And also, I will talk about the easiest way to make money online. And it's not what you think. It's about how to convert abundance, a source of abundance, let's call it X, into abundance Y. And I'm going to provide an example of Facebook, for example, or Plenty of Fish, which was a free dating website that Marcus Freund, a programmer from Vancouver, he was working in his underwear basically 4 hours a day, and he created this free dating site. And after a number of years, I think it was 7 or 8 years, he was able to sell it to Match.com for a cool $575 million, so more than $500 million, and he was the sole owner. So he pocketed, that amount of money from Match.com, which was a paid dating website. And this idea has never been mentioned before online or in any book or in any workshop, webinar, etc. So this is quite unique. How to convert abundance X into abundance Y. So when it comes to making money from your knowledge, you have to master what I call info alchemy. And in the old days, I guess 17th century or something, there was this talk about this mysterious art where an alchemist would be able to transform common metal into gold. Now, I don't know if that's possible, but definitely it is possible to transform low value information into high value information. And just to give you an example, I was talking to the owner of the website summary.com's Robert, and their business model, they were one of the original people who created this kind of business model. And it's really fascinating because what they do is that they have a team of editors, and the editors would read a lot of mostly business books because they serve a business audience. And then the editors would summarize a book, let's say by Tom Peters, a well-known management guru, into an 8-page PDF document, and they would sell these PDF documents for only $5. And most often they would sell a subscription, so you would have access to maybe 500 files, or you can order specific summaries from their catalog. But the main idea here is that they're taking the hard work of somebody who wrote like a book, and they're performing some kind of information alchemy or processing, and they're converting those books into like 8 pages typically. And so this saves a lot of time for the executives, because instead of reading the whole book, which might take hours, the executive only has to flip through the 8 pages and detect or discover ideas or important principles, and then he can get on with his regular schedule. Now, it doesn't mean that, people will skip the book. The purpose is not necessarily to skip the book. It's more like to have an overview of what the book is all about, and then subscribers to summaries.com, they can decide whether it's worth it for them to buy the book. So the summaries are a little bit like options. In finance, options means that you buy the right to buy a particular stock at a particular price, even though the price can go up, but you have the right to buy it at a particular price. So for example, if you buy an option to buy NVIDIA, I don't know what the price is, but let's say it's $300, right, currently, but you buy an option so that you can purchase NVIDIA stock in the future for let's say $310, right? So at one point, even if NVIDIA, the stock goes to, let's say, $350, because I don't know, they have a new partnership with OpenAI or something, even though the price is $350, you have the right to buy it at $310 because you bought an option. So long story short, that's what options are. And so here, when people purchase the summary, the 8-page PDF document, it's like they buy an option, and then later on they can buy the whole book. What is important here is to understand that the people who buy summaries.com documents, they're not really buying the information, because if you want information, you should really read the book. It has much more information than the 8-page summary. What they're actually buying here, and this is a very important realization or insight or principle that you have to keep in mind, and so I'm going to write it here. People are not buying information, they are buying time. So the executives who subscribe to summaries.com, sure, they get information, but what they're really buying is time. They don't have time to read the book. And when they subscribe to summaries.com, they can have access to, let's say, 200 summaries. They definitely do not have time to read 200 books. And so by flipping through the 200 summaries, they are actually buying time. And of course, they're buying ideas, they're buying information, but the value added by summaries.com, it's not so much information, because you can find information on Wikipedia, you can go to a local library and you get these books for free. It's really, they're buying time. And I mentioned this very important principle because a lot of times people will say, well, Peter, I can't really write an ebook on project management or email marketing or sales, even though I'm successful in email marketing and sales and project management. I can't, because there's already so much information. What would I add to the wealth of information already available online, and it's free? And so that's the excuse that people have for not creating their own webinar or video course or ebook. The excuse is that information is free online, so how can I possibly sell my ebook, course, etc.? But that's a misunderstanding of what or why people, especially people who have money and they want to buy time, it's a misunderstanding of their psychology. The people that you're targeting, you should, as much as possible, target rich people. Okay, so rich people have money, that's not a problem. They don't have time. And so this excuse is not valid, because information may be free online, but that's actually the enemy. There is too much information online, and people don't know where to go to get trusted information. And it's not just information, they need also like coaching, they need guidance, they need advice, they need to belong to a community, they need a whole bunch of things. It's not just information. So to give an example, let's say I want to teach calligraphy to people, especially beginners, right? I could easily use that excuse and say, well, I can't really succeed in teaching calligraphy or creating a member site. I have this membership site, Calligraphy for Everyone. So the first layer of membership is that we're charging $10 a month for access to our library of video tutorials. So I could easily use that excuse and say, oh, there's so much free calligraphy videos on YouTube, and it's true. And so I'm not going to be able to sell this membership site, but I already have like over 260 people interested. But anyways, and so that's an excuse, because there's a lot of calligraphy videos online, but it's all disorganized and people don't know where to go. So there may be a lot of quantity but no quality. And even the calligraphy videos that are high quality or of sufficient quality, they offer just information, whereas with Calligraphy for Everyone, I offer coaching, because I'm going to review the calligraphy by our members. So that's coaching. I offer custom advice, so they can ask me any question within the membership site. It's a Facebook group and also a LinkedIn group. And also I can offer like resources. I can offer web applications that showcases the calligraphy of calligraphy masters and artists all over the world. So case studies. I can offer an email-based course or coaching program. So there is so much that I can offer. You know, it's not just YouTube videos, which is what everybody is offering. So every time that you see a popular YouTube channel, you know, don't be intimidated, because just realize that there may be a lot of free information online, especially on YouTube. But the way that you teach, what you offer is more than just information. You can offer, you know, coaching, custom advice, resources, application, case studies, all kinds of courses, reports, newsletters. You can offer much more, and above all, you're saving time, because, you know, you're going online and you study your competition and you copy and you summarize everything that they offer. So you package everything into an information product, and that's what ultimately your customers will appreciate, you know. So they're buying time through your info products. So yeah, so that's the thing to keep in mind. Of course, you also offer information, but your information has to be of very high quality. And trust me, on the internet, on YouTube, the information is not a very high quality. The production value might be good. Like, you know, I see a lot of high value videos on YouTube. You know, for example, the lady might be sitting in a nice living room, the lighting, her makeup, her hairstyle, everything is great. But, you know, as a professional teacher, I tend to look at the actual content, and typically the content is of very low quality. So that's where you come in, and that's where you can make a difference. So let me just put it here. When you're selling knowledge, which is what this webinar is all about, like how to make money from your knowledge, notice the quality of the knowledge, not the quality of the video. So I'm going to put here the quality of the knowledge of the YouTuber, not the quality of you know, not the lighting, not the makeup, not the clothes. You know, all of that is very superficial. It's very superficial. So oftentimes you see a YouTube channel, and I'm not really judging against them or dissing them. You know, I think they're doing a great job given their focus. But if you want to acquire real knowledge, which, as we've seen in part number 1, it's the capacity for effective action. If you want to offer real knowledge to your customers, and you want to charge for the knowledge that you offer through videos and through ebooks and textbooks and reports and newsletters, then the quality of your knowledge has to be there. And so by definition, when you come across YouTube videos, which obviously are free, then that should tell you something about the value of the knowledge in those videos. Because those YouTubers, especially those who have like over 1 million subscribers, they're not stupid. It's free because they can't sell it. Okay, the information that they offer to you for free, it's free because they can't sell it. If they were able to sell it, they wouldn't be stupid enough to give it away for free. So instead, what they do is that they're not teaching. Okay, they entertain, or they like inspire, or they motivate, but it's a very temporary. It's not lasting. They might inspire you, they might motivate you for a few minutes after you watch the video. Oh great, I'm gonna do what she's suggesting, but after a few days or a few hours, the inspiration, the motivation will fade away, and you're left with nothing. And that is why those YouTube influencers and creators, they're not charging for their content. So think about that for a minute. You want to acquire knowledge through life, because knowledge is really the foundation for success. If you don't have knowledge, there's nothing you can do in this life. You can't get a job, because that's what a job interview is. They try to assess your knowledge and whether you're capable and qualified to do the job. So knowledge is the foundation. So you have to really be very discriminating when you go out there and you try to find knowledge on the internet. And there's very little knowledge on YouTube. There are a few thought leaders, and when you watch their videos, it's almost like everything they're saying is worth something, and you can actually take notes because what they're teaching is extremely valuable. And so you have to find like the proverbial needle in the haystack. So to give an example, one business leader that I learned a lot from is Naval Ravikant. He's I think he's of Indian ethnicity. He came to the US. He was very poor. He rose through the ranks, became an entrepreneur, and then became the founder of Angel List, which is a membership club for angel investors. Anyways, he became super rich, but at the same time, he's a very wise person, and he's pursuing knowledge all the time. He's not concerned about how he looks or about being consistent. He will admit that he's wrong when he's wrong, and so he's a very humble person who seeks knowledge. So he's probably the best example I've come across of a business philosopher. In other words, someone who's very good at making money, making profits, starting new companies, investing, but also he's very good with philosophy. And he says that he admires David Deutsch, who's an Israeli physicist. David Deutsch, is that his? Okay, David Deutsch is actually the father of quantum computing. Now, he was the first one to develop theories about quantum computing, and he's the author of the book The Beginning of Infinity, which is a book that everybody should read. This is such a powerful book because it explains to you the basis of science, what science really is, and once you engage on the path of scientific inquiry, then you're engaging on the path to infinity. You're never going to stop. So when I was reading the book The Beginning of Infinity, I felt like I was reading about how the mind of Elon Musk works. So Elon Musk works from scientific principles, and so he's not going to be stopped by the foolishness of human beings. Like, when he started Tesla or SpaceX, nobody believed that he could do it, but he had science to back him up. So because he was backed by science and he knew that what he was doing was rational and it makes sense, even economically, it makes sense for him to start SpaceX, because he knew that the cost of materials makes it so that he can actually create rockets at 10% the price of regular rockets out there. And so Elon Musk is based on his thinking is based on science, or from first principles and science. So he could have like 1 billion people might disagree with him, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care because science is on his side. It's like it's a very silly analogy, but let's say you believe that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, but 8 billion people believe that 2 plus 2 equals 5. Now you know that you're right? And you know that 8 billion people are wrong. This is not right. 2 plus 2 will never equal 5, right? So that's the kind of certainty that you must have when it comes to your knowledge. So whatever knowledge you have, it can be knowledge about accounting, how to set up financial statements. It could be knowledge about marketing, how to segment the market, how to create the marketing mix to go after a particular market segment. It could be project management, like I used to teach. It could be email marketing. It could be copywriting. It could be sales. It could be public speaking, as a way to improve your self-confidence and allow you to teach and make additional money. Whatever your knowledge is, you've got to be like Elon Musk and believe with 100%, not 90%, 100% certainty that you are right. So if you are right and your knowledge actually can improve people's lives, then you are right. You're either right or wrong. So if you are right that your knowledge can actually improve people's lives, then you should just go ahead and teach online. So this is so important that I'm going to create a new slide based on this. Is yet another lesson that I've learned from Elon Musk, and it's not a lesson that most people will intuitively learn from Elon. Like, he teaches so many things, but one thing that he teaches you is that if you're certain about something, then you are right. You are either right or wrong, and that's the beauty of fields like physics or mathematics. It's not probabilistic. It's not like investing, which is like educated gambling. I mean, I have nothing against investors. They're very smart people, and they will guess, for example, that if they buy Nvidia or Tesla, especially with the Optimus robots coming, they will probably make money. So it's a very high probability in their minds, and therefore that's why they're investing in Nvidia and Tesla, because of Optimus, because of the self-driving Tesla cars, and also many of them, especially young people, have begun investing in Bitcoin because the government, central banks are printing money all the time, and therefore the purchasing power of the dollar, the US dollar, and also the currencies in other countries, the purchasing power goes down, and therefore Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin, will continually go up. But even Bitcoin, of which I'm an investor, full disclosure, but even Bitcoin is not 100%, okay? But physics, mathematics, that's 100% certainty. So here we're talking about 100% certainty in the sense that you are either right or wrong. There's no in between. There's no like, follow your own intuition, and trust your journey. No, it's 100% objectivity. You're either right or wrong. And I want to help you to develop that binary means a 1 or 0, that binary approach to your knowledge. So I'm not really against investing. I'm a kind of investor myself. I own stock and Bitcoin. Investing is good, but you're never 100% sure. Like even Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, they used to buy IBM, and they said IBM is a winner, and 4 years later they sold off their IBM shares because IBM made the wrong investment in AI with Watson, etc. Same thing with Apple. They sold off their Apple shares. So in investing, there's nothing really that is 100% sure or 100% durable. But physics, it doesn't matter how AI develops, physics is not going to change. The laws of physics will remain the same once physicists have established those formulas and those laws. It remains the same. Same thing with mathematics. In 1,000 years, 2 plus 2 is still going to equal 4. And so you have to discover what is it within your knowledge that is 100% true and will never change. So what is it that you know that will remain true forever, no matter what new circumstances come into play? The reason why you should identify the part of your knowledge that, what I call wisdom means knowledge that doesn't change. The reason why you should identify that part of your knowledge is that once you identify it, you can teach that portion of your knowledge for the next 10 years, 20 years, for the next 50 years. You're going to make money all the time. You won't have to change your video course, your workshop, your webinar that much. You might change a little bit the packaging, the branding, the colors, etc., but essentially the knowledge remains the same. And let me give you just 2 quick examples. I created the Ideal Career Framework in 2005. It was formalized in 2006, and I taught it at McGill University in 2009. At McGill, I sold it to the Faculty of Management for almost $10,000, and that framework is still true. The framework was submitting that to have an ideal career, to have a dream career, you must discover your passion, you must discover your talent, you must be of service to the world, and it has to be based on your sense of purpose or meaning or mission. And that hasn't changed. I can create reports, newsletters, ebooks, textbooks, webinars, boot camps about the Ideal Career Framework. I can do that for the next 20 years, for the next 100 years. Even if we get to AGI, it's still not going to change. If people want to have a dream career that they love, they have to satisfy those 4 conditions, right? Same thing with the BMW workshop that I created. It was for entrepreneurs. It was telling them that if you want to start a successful business and if you want your business to remain successful, you've got to focus on marketing, which is attracting potential customers. You have to convert those potential customers into actual customers, so that's sales, and you have to satisfy your clients so that they come back, because you can deliver a product or a service, but if they're not satisfied, they're not going to come back, and then you just wasted your time and their time. So you have to satisfy them once you've sold to them. So those are the 3 processes that I can teach for the next 50 years. It's still going to be applicable whether we use AI or not, whether we have Optimus robots or not, whether we have flying cars or not. It's not going to change. This is not going to change, right? So this is a trick that I want to give you when it comes to your knowledge, whether it's accounting, management, whether it's search engine optimization, etc. Whatever it is, what is it that you can teach people that will never, ever change? Otherwise, it's just information that will be valid today, but it's not going to be valid, in 6 months. So it's really important to identify the information or the knowledge that you have that will endure over time. All right, so let's go back to our agenda. I'm sorry, I often go on those tangents, but I find that it's very interesting, very informative. Okay, so we were talking about here information alchemy. Sorry, I'm just going to take a minute to get some drink. So the hold on. So let's create a new slide, and I want to share with you a very, I think, a very valuable concept that I haven't learned anywhere except from Peter Thiel's 0 to 1 book. And Peter talks about, you're here at 0. So in this case, you don't have an information product. And he says that you have to go vertical, you have to innovate and get to a point where you have one digital product. So it can be an ebook, it can be a video course, it can be just a webinar on Zoom, a webinar of, let's say, 60 minutes, etc. And you have to charge something for your ebook, your video course, your webinar. Like, you don't have to charge like, $500, but just charge something very minimal, let's say like $20. Okay. So at the beginning, the 1 billion professionals and entrepreneurs and managers on LinkedIn, they have 0 digital product. How do I know? Well, I just look at their profile and they're not selling their ebooks or a video course because there's no website. It would be very strange if they have an ebook or a print book or a video course and they don't promote it on their LinkedIn profile. That would be very strange. It would be such a big mistake. Like, if you have a book, why don't you promote it on LinkedIn, right? So they don't have a book. And we're talking about 1 billion people on LinkedIn. And by the way, because of this 1 billion people on LinkedIn, and most of them speak English, you can actually become an affiliate for my video course, how to make money from your knowledge. And you can earn easily $30 in commission when you bring me a new customer who is buying my video course, how to make money from your knowledge. But enough about that. Let's focus on the fact that most people, like over 1 billion people, and these are smart people on LinkedIn, right? So I assume that if you're not on LinkedIn, you're not as serious about your career, and you definitely do not have a digital product. So at least, on LinkedIn, 1 billion people, that's a lot of people, and they don't have a digital product. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to go from 0 to 1. And you can see the arrow here. It's not a straight arrow. It's never going to be as easy as, going from 0 to 1, and bada bing, bada boom, you have an ebook or video course or webinar. It's not going to be that easy. Like, even with ChatGPT, we'll see later on that there are many complexities, many issues that you're going to encounter when you try to create your very first digital product. But the good news is that, once you create one digital product, then it's really, really not going to be hard to create a second one, and then a third one, and then the fourth one, because it's like learning how to ride a bike. You have a recipe, you achieved balance, you know how to do it. So the second ebook, much easier. The third one, it's so easy. The fourth one, you can do it with your eyes closed. Well, okay, maybe not, but it's getting easier and easier. So your first digital product is going to be the most difficult, and you have to expect that. I don't want to lie to you. The first time I created a workshop in 2005, it was very hard. First time I created an audio program and selling it on CD that I was shipping through Canada Post in 2009, it was very hard. First time I was teaching in high school, first time I was teaching at the embassy, the Morocco embassy, to 50 business people, very hard. But it gets easier. So you have to expect that it's going to be hard. But what I always tell people is that if you don't have a teacher and you're trying to do something very hard but very profitable, like creating a digital product, something technical like that, it's going to be hard to overcome. And most people intuitively understand that creating a digital product is hard, and that's why nobody that they know in their Facebook network has an ebook or a video course. It's very hard, and it's hard because most people, it's like as if they're here, and you can see that the height of most people, they are over here, right? So there's a wall here, and the wall is much taller than they are. So there's no way for them to climb over that wall. And on the other side of the wall, where is where you have a lot of money, and we're talking about passive income, because once you create a digital product, you can just sell it on the internet. You don't have to involve your time. You're not an employee, you're not a service provider, you're selling a product. But to make that kind of passive income, which typically means like six figure, you're making 100, 200K, 500K, even $1 million from your digital products. To get to that site, it's impossible because the wall here is taller than most people. This is their height. So naturally, most people, including very successful people that I know, investors, entrepreneurs, business owners, leaders, etc., they can't do it. And I agree with them, they can't do it. But let me show you visually the trick for jumping over this wall and making a lot of money over here. So this is worth creating a new slide. So let me just do that right now. What I'm gonna share with you is kind of like a secret that 99.9% of people don't know, and that's the reason why they don't succeed, they don't achieve financial freedom. As long as you're an employee working for the boss, you're never gonna be financially free. You're never gonna get to this side where you make the easy money. But let me show you the trick for jumping. Actually, you don't have to jump, but getting over this wall. The trick is that this wall represents all the things that you have to do in order to go from 0 digital product to 1 digital product. So the trick is simply to break down that wall into a kind of stairway, and then you put that wall, which has been broken down, as in project management, right? You break down that wall into a series of, let's say, bricks. And so now, even though the height of this stairway is higher, that person can actually move up here. Sorry, does that show on the live stream? Yeah, it does. So that person can move up here because it's a stairway, it's not a wall anymore. And then she makes the first step, which, for example, can be identifying your most useful knowledge. In other words, the knowledge that you have that other people are willing to pay for. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, you have to start teaching on Zoom, and you can teach for free just to gain some practice. Step number 3, you after you teach on Zoom or you live stream, which is what I'm doing right now, you edit the video and you package it and you create a sales page on Gumroad. And then step number 4, oops, sorry, I just dislocated this arm. So step number 4, the person would move here. And step number 5, after she starts selling, she's in the promised land, and she is making a lot of money. She has indeed gone from 0 to 1. But for most people who do not follow the training that you're currently following, for them, creating a digital product, whether it's an ebook or video course, it's very, very hard. Now, granted, hopefully with ChatGPT today, the barrier or the wall might seem a little bit less daunting. So maybe it's this high. But even if the wall is lowered, it's still too high for most people. And that's why, even with ChatGPT, they're not writing ebooks. Now, to be clear, I've read a lot about people who wrote an ebook by using ChatGPT, or they even created a web application that teaches users what they know by using Base 44 or by using Claude by Anthropic. So there are more and more people who are using AI to jump over this wall and make money. And they're very smart, because I think that the smartest and the most profitable use of AI is to create a product. So these people who are using ChatGPT to make a new product, like a digital product, because the wall is now lowered, they are using AI correctly. So this is so important that I'm gonna put it here as a kind of principle, and we can maybe discuss it later. So the principle, or in my opinion, um, the principle is that the most profitable thing you can do with AI is to create a digital product, because once you have a digital product, you have the master copy and you're able to sell it, like even for $5, which is very low. After that you can just print those $5. So it's a $5 bill. You can just print it because on the internet there's no shortage of customers, right? So you're gonna make tons and tons of money, whether it's $5 or whether it's $10 or $20 or $100. Those bills can be printed infinitely, and you don't even have to be the one to print that money. You can hire affiliates, you can hire resellers, presenters, Zoom coordinators, and they will be able to sell your digital product. And that's why I find that the digital product is like the holy grail. It's like the holy grail. And if you use AI, it doesn't matter whether you use Gemini or Claude or DeepSeek or ChatGPT. The holy grail is really to create a digital product. Like people can use ChatGPT. For example, I have a friend who's using ChatGPT to learn options trading, which is great because he's a good investor. He can probably learn options trading and he can make money. But not everyone is technically trained in investing, right? So, but when it comes to in creating information product here, ChatGPT is so smart. You can ask ChatGPT to create an ebook on any topic and it will do so. And maybe in a future live stream, I'm gonna share with you all the prompts that you can use in order to get ChatGPT to write a whole ebook from scratch, even though you know nothing about it. So this is a very interesting project. So let me just put it down here so that I can make to you the promise that in a future live stream I'm gonna write all the prompts needed to get ChatGPT to write an entire non-fiction. It can be fiction also, it can be a novel, but I'm more into non-fiction. An entire non-fiction book. So any topic, whether it's psychology, marketing research, sales, public speaking, if you have a set of prompts and you use them in a strategic sequence, then ChatGPT can write your entire book, and you can package it as a Kindle book on Amazon, or you can sell it as a PDF file on Gumroad, and you can easily make money. So you can make money even though you know nothing about that particular topic. You just have to know the prompts. So anyways, that's very interesting. So I'm just going to put it here. And now we're going to go back to our regular programming. So that's the holy grail. That's the first thing that you should try to learn, in my opinion. So I don't know if there's a better thing that people can do with AI. I'm guessing, sorry, this gets a little bit messy, but I'm guessing that the second best thing that you can do with ChatGPT is to create a sales letter or some kind of sales funnel that will allow you to sell whatever digital product you're creating. So in other words, if ChatGPT can help you with innovation or with marketing, then it's great. You're going to be able to make money from ChatGPT, and at one point you're going to realize that paying ChatGPT $200 a month, that is quite worth it, because you're going to be making thousands of dollars a month from ChatGPT. But of course, until you get to that point where you're making enough cash flow to afford $200 a month, you can use ChatGPT for free, or you can use ChatGPT Plus for only $20 a month. But the goal is really to create a digital product. Because I'm talking about this goal, and this is from my particular perspective, right? Maybe somebody else can teach another method. I'm talking about the goal because oftentimes people, especially today, we are experienced. I think it was Einstein or somebody who very smart, who said that we are. Sorry, what? It's getting too messy. It's not very nice. I'm just going to create a new slide. So somebody was saying something I found to be very true, and that can actually block your way to making money with knowledge. He said that we live in times where we have a profusion of ends and profusion of means and confusion of ends. In other words, we have all the tools, all the technologies that you can imagine, and AI is just going to get more powerful. It's going to be faster, it's going to be free, etc. We have so many tools and so many technologies, but we don't know what exactly is the goal. There are currently, I think, 700 or 800 million users of ChatGPT, and that's great. ChatGPT is a great tool, but the question I want to ask Sam Altman is how many people are actually making money with ChatGPT. It's like the famous Jerry Maguire line, show me the money. Show me the money. ChatGPT Comet, which came out from Perplexity, DeepSeek, Manus. I stopped following because at some point it's not about the tool anymore. It's about how sharp you are in identifying your goal and then hitting the goal and actually making money, right? So the question I have for all the AI companies out there is, show me the money. Like even OpenAI itself is not making money. They're not profitable. And I think all the AI companies out there, including Anthropic, which is making a killing with Claude, because Claude is so good with coding, they're not making money. And so that's the goal that you want to focus on. And so my particular perspective is that the goal of using ChatGPT is to make money. And the way to make money is, number one, you create a product. And number two, you use ChatGPT also to create, marketing systems that will help you to monetize your product, make money from your product. So if you remember 0 to 1, this is about creating a product. And the second step is marketing that product in order to make money. So let me just create that diagram so that you can see very, very clearly that you need to do only two things in order to make money with your knowledge. So remember, that's really the focus of this webinar. It's really how to make money from your knowledge. And when I mean knowledge, I mean it should be captured in the form of information products, like an ebook or a video course. So the first step is that you've got to create at least one digital product, and after that, you have to make money. So here you're making money, you have customers, but you're only going to have those customers if you do the marketing, and that's what this horizontal arrow is all about. This is the marketing part, and this over here, the arrow over here, is the innovation. So you notice that here the arrow can be very meandering. It's not straightforward. Marketing tends to be more straightforward because it's more some kind of automation, and you can also hire people to do your affiliate marketing, to do your selling. Digital marketing is a very proven field. It's not hard. So when I say marketing here, I basically mean digital marketing. So innovation is going to be challenging for you, but once you can create a digital product, whether it's an ebook, a video course, a webinar, etc., digital marketing is not that hard, and that's how you're going to make a lot of easy money over here. Okay, this is the goal that I have for you. This is really the goal. There's no other whoops, sorry. Oh my goodness, what is that? Oh. Sorry, I don't know what I did, but sorry guys. Anyways, my point, I don't know what I did, but anyway, my point is that actually it's a good opportunity to summarize. You know, you're at zero right now. You have zero product, and you have to do all kinds of experimentation. But hopefully, through my webinar, I'm going to help you to go more like straightforward. I'm going to give you the step-by-step instructions so that you go from zero product, and at some point you have at least one product. It's not going to be a perfect product, mind you, but at least you have one small ebook or video course that you can sell for, let's say, $20 or $50. And once you have that digital product, I'm going to help you with the marketing so that you can actually arrive at money. And once you make your first dollar over here, and assuming that it's not your mom who's buying your product, then you can just replicate this money, and you're going to be able to make infinite money from that point on. But that's really the goal of my webinar series on how to make money with knowledge. All right, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this second part, and I look forward to continuing this webinar series in the next live stream.